The Mass readings for Sunday, January 16th, 2022. Today we celebrate the second Sunday in Ordinary Time. A reading from the book of the prophet Isaiah. For Zion's sake I will not be silent, for Jerusalem's sake I will not be quiet, until her vindication shines forth like the dawn, and her victory like a burning torch. Nations shall behold your vindication, and all the kings your glory. You shall be called by a new name, pronounced by the mouth of the Lord. You shall be a glorious crown in the land of the Lord, a royal diadem held by your God. No more shall people call you forsaken, or your land desolate, but you shall be called my delight, and your land espoused. For the Lord delights in you, and makes your land his spouse. As a young man marries a virgin, your builder shall marry you, and as a bridegroom rejoices in his bride, so shall your God rejoice in you. The word of the Lord. The responsorial psalm. Today's responsorial psalm is Psalm number 96. Proclaim his marvelous deeds to all the nations. Proclaim his marvelous deeds to all the nations. Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord, all you lands. Sing to the Lord, bless his name. Proclaim his marvelous deeds to all the nations. Announce his salvation day after day. Tell his glory among the nations, among all peoples his wondrous deeds. Proclaim his marvelous deeds to all the nations. Give to the Lord, you families of nations. Give to the Lord glory and praise. Give to the Lord the glory due his name. Proclaim his marvelous deeds to all the nations. Worship the Lord in holy attire. Tremble before him, all the earth. Say among the nations, the Lord is king. He governs the peoples with equity. Proclaim his marvelous deeds to all the nations. Proclaim his marvelous deeds to all the nations. A reading from the first letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians. Brothers and sisters, there are different kinds of spiritual gifts, but the same Spirit. There are different forms of service, but the same Lord. There are different workings, but the same God, who produces all of them in everyone. To each individual, the manifestation of the Spirit is given for some benefit. To one is given through the Spirit the expression of wisdom, to another the expression of knowledge according to the same Spirit, to another faith by the same Spirit, to another gifts of healing by the one Spirit, to another mighty deeds, to another prophecy, to another discernment of spirits, to another varieties of tongues, to another interpretation of tongues. But one and the same Spirit produces all of these, distributing them individually to each person as he wishes. The word of the Lord. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. John, chapter 2, verse 1 to 11. There was a wedding at Cana in Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Jesus and his disciples were also invited to the wedding. When the wine ran short, the mother of Jesus said to him, "They have no wine." And Jesus said to her, "Woman, how does your concern affect me? My hour has not yet come." His mother said to the servers, "Do whatever he tells you." Now there were 6 stone water jars there for Jewish ceremonial washings, each holding 20 to 30 gallons. Jesus told them, "Fill the jars with water." So they filled them to the brim. Then he told them, "Draw some out now and take it to the head waiter." So they took it. And when the head waiter tasted the water that had become wine, without knowing where it came from, although the servers who had drawn the water knew, the head waiter called the bridegroom and said to him, "Everyone serves good wine first, and then when the people have drunk freely, an inferior one. But you have kept the good wine until now." Jesus did this as the beginning of his signs at Cana in Galilee, and so revealed his glory, and his disciples began to believe in him. The Gospel of the Lord. Here are some thoughts on today's scripture. To understand today's story, we need to be aware that, like much of John's writing, it is full of symbolic language. In the first part of John's Gospel, after the prologue, the events prescribed are seen as taking place over a period of 7 days, 1 week. Today's story takes place on the 7th day of that week. According to the Hebrew Testament, when God created the world, when he gave life, he used 6 days for his work and rested on the 7th. And on this final day of the week, we celebrate the life that God has given us through Jesus. The Gospel today says there were 6 large stone jars full of water. They were there for the ceremonies of purification, which were required by tradition on coming into the house and before eating. In this story, they represent the laws and religious customs of the Hebrew dispensation. And there are 6, which is 1 short of the complete number 7. Through the intervention of Jesus, the water in these jars is transformed into wine, and a first-class wine at that. You have kept the best wine until now. This wine represents the Christian Testament, the new life, the new way of Jesus. It takes the place of the ritual water of the Old Covenant. Again, this is a symbol of the generosity and liberality of God and the fullness of life which he wants us to experience. All this is taking place at a wedding banquet. In the Hebrew Testament, as the first reading indicates, Israel was visualized as the bride of God. In the Christian New Testament, the church, the Christian community, is the bride of Jesus. And so this wedding today reminds us that the meal we celebrate every Sunday, the Eucharist, when we gather to eat and drink around the table of the Lord, our Mass is also a time of celebration. Finally, Mary is there at the feast. It was through her sensitive awareness that Jesus came to know about the bridegroom's predicament. In this story, she is not only the mother of Jesus, she also represents the church. Through the church, we receive the help we need to lead that full life. Christ, have mercy on us. Thanks for listening. Have a blessed day. Remember to follow us on Instagram at accept_God_. You can also click on the link below, located below this video. Thanks.